It's noon here in Ventnor, New Jersey, and this is news that you can use from YAA with your hosts, Zach and Ray. And for those of you keeping score out on the West Coast, it's 9 a.m. Good morning to you out there.
I know that people my age, people half my age, people my son's age, they just can't afford to buy a car today because the price of cars is too damn high. And if you live out in a rural area, how the hell are you getting around? You can't afford that truck. You can't afford that tractor because the price of transportation is just too damn high.
Good news this Tuesday morning with the latest and greatest data from our friends over at BlackBook shows, Dad, that wholesale used car prices are continuing what I will start to call a precipitous decline in price, Dad. We had nearly a half-point decline week over week. Last week was a third of a point decline. We are in an environment, Dad, where used car prices on the wholesale side are starting to fall. BlackBook says,
yes,
lower consumer confidence, rising repossessions, and higher interest rates are to blame. What was your take when you saw the data?
My take was that the price of wholesale cars is not so damn high anymore. Man, you surprised me with that clip. I had no idea. I mean, I think I think it's a continuation of what we've seen, and this proves that the decline we saw last week had nothing to do with the 4th of July holiday. And I believe it has everything to do with consumer confidence, inflation, rising interest rates. Even though gas prices have dropped 50 cents a gallon, it's still on average $4.50 for regular gasoline. That's still considerably more than what people had to pay at the pump a year ago. So I think all those things are conspiring to cause somewhat of a slowdown in sales, number one. And the biggest portion of that is the fact that there really are no new cars for people to buy, and that's impacted the used car side of things. I think this is something we anticipated, and I think this is something that 4 to 6 weeks from now we'll actually start seeing the retail asking prices go down somewhat and reflect the lower wholesale values that dealers are paying at the auctions right now.
And just to corroborate this, we also have brand new data this morning from Cox Automotive. Manheim wholesale used vehicle prices increase in first half of July from seasonal adjustment. Then you go on and you read the non-adjusted price change in the first half of July was actually a decrease of 2.2% compared to June. So
can I say something? Can I say something about Cox? They're worse when it comes to clickbait than we are, for goodness sake. I mean, they offer up the most disingenuous headlines in the history of headlines. Okay, prices increased, except when you read just the smaller print, they really decreased. What is? They're a major publication. They're a huge player in the automotive marketplace. At the very least, you think they could play it straight.
Now, the reality is, so Cox's data shows the same thing that BlackBook's data shows. Everyone we're talking to, it's the same story. All right, we're starting to see weakening on the wholesale side. I think, and we talked about this, we put a video out on the YAA channel. We kind of put our necks on the line. We said wait 60 to 90 days, and I'm still standing by that. I think, Dad, and I'm actually at Carvana, one of their vending machines today for another reason, but I think when you start to see Carvana's earnings report beginning of August, so 3 weeks from now, 2-3 weeks from now, I think that's going to start to ring the alarm bell, because that's going to show slowing down growth for their business, and that's going to put pressure on retail prices across the industry. When Carvana puts out their earnings and it shows, hey, we've sold less cars and we're holding on to really expensive inventory and we need to do a bit of a fire sale to get some cash, I think that'll probably be the first domino that falls. And I think their earnings come out August 2nd or 4th, something like that. That week, I bet you that's when we start to see some weakening of retail pricing for used cars. That being said, we've heard from our community, we've heard from our auto advocates, used cars are negotiable. You can negotiate used cars. And you've talked about this a little bit, that because of interest rates rising, the dealerships have more incentive than before to actually sell the car as well.
Well, the cost to carry the inventory on their lot is going up. And and the Fed has already indicated that at their next meeting, and with inflation rearing its ugly head at the rate of 11.1% at the last uh, uh, disclosure, that the Fed's going to probably take a big bite, another 3/4 of a point, or maybe even a full point increase to the Fed rate. Well, that ultimately gets translated into the rates that the dealerships are paying for their floor plan interest on the cars. So, the dealers had been paying too much for the cars. Now they get to pay a little bit less for the cars, but the carrying cost of having those cars on the lot will spur dealers to want to move product quicker. The way that you mitigate the added interest expense is to have the car sit on the property for less time. The shorter the time frame, the smaller amount of interest that you're paying to have it there. So dealers should be more motivated to either post a more reasonable asking price on their car to begin with, or B, be more willing to negotiate off of that asking price than they have been in the past, because they want to cut their floor plan expenses, their interest expenses.
Justice is one of our team members back at joinyaa.com. He works with folks every single day to help them negotiate their car deals. Can't really negotiate on new cars. You can find dealers who aren't marking up as much on new cars, and then you can negotiate all the crap that they add on. You can negotiate used cars. Justice telling us right now, I buy sites. So those are the Carvanas, the CarMaxes, Vrooms, those websites, Driveway, that are going to buy your car from you. We're seeing offers come down. That correlates with what we're seeing on the reports from BlackBook and Cox Automotive. Because why, if I can't turn around and just sell it at the auction for the same amount of money I'm buying it from a customer on the street, of course my offer price is going to come down. Dad, a couple questions here in the chat I want to pull up, and then we are going to talk about Carvana, and we should also talk a little bit about the chip news from this past week. Doesn't look great, unfortunately. But John says, how much do dealers pay per month for a car for floor plan on average?
Well, it's
hard to answer. I know.
Yeah, that's a hard one to answer. I wish I had Igor on the chat today. He could do a much better job answering it. But when interest rates were next to nothing, dealers didn't mind carrying inventory. Then we got into a situation where they couldn't keep inventory on the lot, so that they weren't paying a lot in floor plan interest anyway. Now, used cars are starting to stack up a little bit, and the cost of carrying those used cars has gone up. It's not uncommon for a dealership to pay $150 a month in interest to have the car sit there, depending on the cost of the car. If it's a 40,000 used car, it's probably costing them $100 to $150 a month to have that car in the lot. So there is an incentive to keep those floor plan charges down. And as interest rates rise, that becomes one of the greatest cost factors that impacts profitability for a dealership, is the carrying charges for all that inventory. In a lot of cases, dealerships carry $8 to $10 million worth of inventory between new and used cars. And they pay interest on that. Start doing the math. That could add up in a hurry. And if you're not selling it as quickly as you were, it adds up even faster.
So again, just to beat the story home, we are seeing wholesale used car prices fall. That is a great thing. It's awesome to see. The underlying reason why wholesale used car prices and retail used car prices went up was because of the new car shortage. We are not seeing a light at the end of the tunnel there, Dad. The most recent data, let me pull it up on the screen. The most recent data from the microchip shortage came out yesterday from Auto Forecast Solutions. More than 100,000 vehicles were cut from North American production schedules just last week. What are we up to total? 3.621 million vehicles taken out of production this year. We'll end with 5, 6, maybe 7 million vehicles that aren't produced globally this year because of the chip shortage. And that is the systemic issue why we're seeing used car prices so high.
And right now they're projecting the North American loss of output is 1.1 million, or a little over 1.1 million is the projection for the year. And my supposition is that number will be closer to 2 million before the end of the year. And yes, if you keep producing less new vehicles, then there's less vehicles for people to buy, so that there's less trade-ins coming in. So it doesn't feed the used car market as quickly as we would normally like to see. And the quality of the used cars that are making their way to auction is a lot lower than what it normally would have been in the past. And dealers are still paying top dollar for them, because it's the only way they can keep some type of inventory on their lots. When you have no new cars to sell or no new cars to display, because everything pretty much has a customer name on an incoming unit, well, then you have to stock your lot with pre-owned cars. You have to be in the used car business, and even though wholesale prices are coming down somewhat, the dealers are still paying quite a bit more for the pre-owned cars than they would have liked to, or they would have in the past.
100%, Pops. Yeah, that's exactly what we're seeing. We've got Learning Fast in the chat saying fallen wholesale prices are terrible for people trying to sell their car. And actually, this is spot on. I mean, it's good that we're seeing wholesale prices come down because it means buying the used car will be cheaper. But we know that the time frame around these changes will be in such a way that dealers and these businesses are trying to maximize profits and minimize the amount of risk that they take on. Whereas consumers, it's, we're not thinking about this every single day, but yeah, the time to sell your car was probably 2 weeks ago. The time to buy that replacement car would then be 2 months from now. Can you actually go that period of time without a vehicle is the question.
Most people cannot. Unfortunately.
Exactly. Yes. A little bit of arbitrage going on here. Dad, let's talk a little bit. We had this. What's up?
I like that word, arbitrage.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sean's got a question for us, Pops. What's your prediction for Carvana in 2022? And we'll use this as the jumping off point for the latest news story about Carvana, Dad.
Yes.
Carvana. Actually, wait. I got to take advantage of this type of situation. What am I doing here? Give me 1 second. Give me a second.
Really? You gotta be kidding me.
I should know better.
Yeah,
Dad, Carvana's dealer license has been suspended. They cannot sell cars in the state of Illinois.
Again.
Can you explain what's going on here, Dad?
Well, there was a situation back in May where their dealer license was suspended in Illinois because they weren't titling or transferring the titles and registrations to their customers fast enough. And they kept issuing out-of-state temporary registrations, which didn't make sense to Illinois since the cars were sold in Illinois. How do you put an out-of-state plate on there, temporary plate on there? So they suspended their license. And I think it was suspended for about 2 weeks, and they promised to do a better job. And so the state of Illinois reinstated their license to sell again. Yes. So all things were going fairly well, fairly swimmingly for a month and a half. And, well, they fell into the same trap that they were in before. They still can't seem to title and register vehicles quickly enough in the state of Illinois. They still can't seem to figure out how to put temporary registrations on cars. And so their dealer license has been suspended again. What I would like you to do, if you can, is that giant ass car vending machine behind you should have a sign hanging from it that says "out of order."
Next time for tomorrow's show. So, Dad, just to build on this a little bit more and make sure everyone's up to speed, Carvana has not only faced this issue in the state of Illinois, where it takes you have a 20-day window to get someone the title or registration for a vehicle. In the state of Florida, where we just had the video drop on the YAA channel, Vroom got fined $87,000 for not getting titles and registrations to folks. Well, Carvana managed to avert getting their dealer license suspended there and also avert any fines. But they had issues in Florida. And of course, they had that county in North Carolina that revoked their dealer license for 180 days for the exact same issues. All you need to do is look on the Better Business Bureau reviews for Carvana, and you know the horror stories of folks driving around in cars that they don't have titles and registrations for. And Dad, last time I checked, that is very much so illegal. You can't be driving a car without the registration.
You cannot. And a lot of people who realize that they don't have a proper legal title or registration of their vehicle, have those vehicles parked, because they don't want to be cited for driving illegally. And obviously, this is an issue that's been going on with Carvana for the longest period of time, and they still don't seem to be making any headway. And I don't see how it's going to be getting any better, since they just laid off 2,500 people in an attempt to actually become, if we had a drum roll, the drum roll would be they're actually trying to become a profitable venture, as opposed to the not so profitable venture that they are. They recently invested $3 billion to buy the Odessa auto auction. They're running out of cash, or maybe they have a great cash position. I don't know. But they don't make money.
They don't, Dad.
Yeah,
they don't.
Yeah. They don't make money. Okay. They have to lay off staff. Obviously, they better not be laying off the staff that titles and registers vehicles for them, or at least contracts.
They use a third party for that. Yeah.
Or at least contracts with a qualified third party organization that can do it for them. At a certain point in time, more and more states are going to stop or suspend their license to do business in their states. And so then I don't know how Carvana becomes a sustainable operation. But then again, what do I know? I all I know is that when we sold cars, we titled and registered them, because, well, not only was that the right thing to do, that was the legal thing to do. So, they're not even doing the minimum. And
next time, Pops, when you say drum roll, just like give me a second. So go ahead, say like drum roll.
Drum roll. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Was that Buddy Rich?
Good drummer from back in the day. All right, so here's the deal. If you're going to buy a car from Carvana, make sure you get your title and your registration. Make sure you take it for an inspection after you buy it. Again, you can't do a pre-purchase inspection. And just be a little bit, what's the word, Dad? Is it weary or wary?
Wary.
Be a little wary of what you're getting into. And quite frankly, across the board, remember, Carvana, you can't negotiate the price. CarMax, you can't negotiate the price. From watching the beginning of this live stream, you've got an opportunity to negotiate used car prices. Again, go to your local dealer, do the game, and save some money. That would be my 2 cents.
If it were me, this is just me. This is the Ray Shefska opinion. I would never buy a car from somebody where A, I can't test drive it, and B, I can't get it a pre-purchase inspection done. Okay? Pictures are a wonderful thing. I look at real estate all the time, and pictures are wonderful. And then you go actually look at the house, and it doesn't look anything like the pictures. Okay? The same thing happens with cars on car websites. Okay? Condition reports on car websites. I don't know. There's omissions. That we know that there isn't as much reconditioning going on used cars today as there might have been in the past. I don't know how anybody can spend the type of money it takes to buy a car today without personally driving it or inspecting it before they commit to buy it. It's just, there's certain things that I'm not buying from Amazon. One would be a car. Okay. I'm not buying from Carvana, Vroom, or Shift a car that they're just going to deliver to my house. No, I want to see it. I want to drive it. I want to touch it. I want to make sure it's right. And I don't understand the foolishness of consumers to think that it's okay to spend $40,000, $50,000 basically on something sight unseen just based on pictures. That to me is pure craziness. And we should all do better. As consumers.
We're going to transition in a second to some rules and regulations around dealers, the FTC stuff, which ties in a little bit with what we're talking about here with Carvana and the regulations needed to make sure these processes are good. I want to pull up Sam's question here, Dad. This is interesting. If you have a car to trade in and can get a new car at MSRP, would you take advantage of used car values now, traded in on a new car now, or wait? I know what I would do, Pops. What would you do?
I would trade it in now. Okay. And if you want to place your name on a list for an incoming car, I would do what we would call a pre-trade, which is give the car to the dealer now at the agreed upon price. They will hold that on their books so that when your new car comes in, they will give you that amount as a trade-in allowance against the new car. You just traded it in early. We used to do that quite a bit on minis because, back in the day, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, you couldn't guarantee a value of a used car going forward. Today, they don't seem to depreciate nearly as much as they did 3-4 years ago. But yeah, to either buy a car now that's on the lot so you can get the maximum for your trade, or do a pre-trade so that they'll hold that on their books and show it against the new car when it comes in.
100%. We've got from Andrew here, Dad. What happens if you have a loan on a car from Carvana? It's not been titled in your name, so they don't have a lien on it. Aren't the banks mad? Definitely. I mean, no one in this system is happy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's also known as bank fraud.
We've got from Sean here saying Carvana's largest shareholder is T. Rowe Price at 12.7%. They could go the way of Nutrisystem with activist investors soon. Wouldn't be surprised, honestly. The market value, the market capitalization of Carvana is about $4 billion. Ernie Garcia III, the father of the CEO, sold nearly that amount of stock last year in September when the value of the company was north of $50 billion. You figure out what's going on there. All right, let us switch gears, Dad, and let's talk a little bit about what's going on at the FTC. If you are unfamiliar with the proposed regulations regarding car dealerships from the FTC, they are fantastic. They are consumer friendly, and we need to see them come to fruition. The Federal Trade Commission has now opened up their period of public comment, and we would like you to leave a comment on this platform, regulations.gov. And you can search for this document, or I'll just toss the link in the chat here in a second. Dad, you left a comment here. There are now, and we'll refresh this in a moment, and let them know Ray and Zach or YAA sent you or asked you to be there. You left this comment, Dad, talking about and asking for these rules to come to fruition. Can you talk a little bit about what you shared here?
Well, I shared the fact that this nonsense has been going on forever. And that you would think the good dealers would want these proposals to go into effect so that they could force the bad dealers out of business. And I spoke about there. If you would pull it up, I want to read one paragraph. I guess it was the second paragraph.
Yeah, just give me 1 second, Pops.
I'll give you all the time you need, young man, because you do this so well. I said, one must question what is wrong with the society as a whole when everyone knows that consumers are taking advantage of every day when purchasing a car or truck, and everyone turns a blind eye to it. Law enforcement, consumer protections agencies, state attorney generals, the Federal Trade Commission, and many other consumer protection organizations all know what is going on and yet do next to nothing to correct it. The essence of commerce should not be who can we take advantage of today, but rather how can we operate in a consumer respectful and honest manner. I believe the enactment of these proposals would bring us closer to the latter and finally rid our society of the former. Predatory practices should not be allowed. That should not be the way society operates, at least in my mind. And there could be hundreds of thousands, millions of people that totally disagree with me, and that's fine because we're all entitled to our opinions. But it just seems to me they all know what's happening. You can't tell me there isn't an attorney general in any of these states that hasn't at some point in his or her life gone to buy a car and faced the exact same situation that consumers face every day. And they do nothing, with a capital N, nothing about it. And it's time for that to change. And it's time for those type of processes and rules to be put into place that the proposal suggests, so that we as a society can stop taking advantage of the American consumer. It's just really that simple.
Now, obviously, the National Automobile Dealers Association replied to the FTC. So let me share my screen and we can all take a peek at this. So obviously, or they sent in this, they attached a very nice letter, all sorts of, references and things like that. I'm actually working on a response to this, essentially, from us, from YAA. And I'll have references and I'm going to take my time. We've got another 55 days for public comment. We're going to respond to this. We're going to respond to this NADA letter. And what I love here, Dad, is they say that they represent, where is it? Was it up here at the top? They mentioned, it's right here. NADA represents over 16,000 franchised automobile and truck dealers in all 50 states. You know what I can't wait to put on ours?
Yeah.
YAA represents the feelings and emotions of 10 million monthly viewers. I mean, I can't wait to reference that. We do have power in numbers here. And again, if you come here to submit your comment, view the related comments as well. I saw a chat message and it was mentioning this response from Tomlinson Motor Company, a used car dealer in Florida, who said, I would strongly support these regulations that you are considering. I mean, there are really good answers in here, really good responses that endorse the proposed regulations. We need to see not 59, not 61. We need to see 6,100 comments in here that are supporting these regulations and really leverage our numbers to help push this forward.
The industry has millions upon millions of dollars that they invest in lobbyists to get Congress to do what it is that they want, or do what it is that they feel that they need. When the industry should embrace this opportunity to drive the bad dealers out of business, and to move the whole process forward in a manner that honors and respects the people that actually put the food on the table for them, and that's the American consumer. You can still make a nice living being honest, open, and fair with the people you're trying to do business with. It doesn't take deceptive practices or tactics that are underhanded in order to be able to make money. And you can't be proud of yourself as a dealer principal if you encourage some of those practices to be utilized in your dealership. I don't care how much you donate to local charities. That doesn't compensate for the fact that your business practices are suspect to begin with. Those donations don't make up for the fact that you're deceiving and defrauding people on a daily basis. So just step up, come up with a process that's fair, transparent, easy. One person shouldn't be able to get a better deal than another person simply because they can negotiate better. The price should be the price, and whether you're a gazillionaire or an average American, you pay the same damn price for it. Just like when you go and buy a shirt at Kohl's, the gazillionaire doesn't get to buy it for less than I would get to buy it for. The price is the price, and that's the way it should be on a car. And that way we could do away with some of the nonsense that we see on a daily basis. And I suggested that the FTC go to our website, go to our YouTube channel, and read some of the damn comments. Just because they only received 100,000 complaints a year for each of the last 3 years, there's millions of people that we read their comments on a daily basis that are fed up with how they're treated when they go to buy a car. I'm done.
I like when you get on your soapbox. I like that.
Well,
Yeah, there's lots of good chat comments coming through here. Please contribute. We're going to be checking every single day for the number of comments, and it's really great. I should actually demonstrate this for everyone as well. There's a search, so I'm not going to pull it up on the screen, but you can search. Just search for different keywords, see what people are saying, and contribute your 2 cents, so that 55 days from now we can celebrate when the FTC takes more steps to actually put these rules in place. And I've posted in the chat here, if you just Google search FTC cracking down on shady car dealers, our article that recaps what's going on, what they're proposing, that'll pop up for you. So take a peek there to double check. Wholesale used car prices are coming down. Carvana's vending machines might have a going out of business sign on them relatively soon.
Well, at least out of order. The machine is out of order. Yeah. Yeah.
And the FTC, we're going to put as much pressure on them as we possibly can.
Absolutely. And we need everybody in our audience, everybody that follow us to, if you faced practices that you thought were unfair, then please share that with the FTC. And I know that we repeat a lot of what we do. And we talked about the FTC yesterday and again today on this channel. And we just recorded a video for our main channel, the one that gets about 3 million views a month, because we want to reach as many people as we can and spur them on to write to the FTC, because I believe that there's strength in numbers. Okay. Mm-hmm. And if there's 10,000 consumers that write to counteract the one thing that NADA wrote, or if there's 1 million consumers that inundate the FTC with why they think these proposals should go into effect, I think that type of pressure can actually make something happen.
Well said, Pops.
I'm done now. I need to go take a blood pressure pill.
We'll be back tomorrow. We have a special guest joining us, so please be sure to tune in at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. Thank you to everyone for being here with us today. Pops, I'll see you tomorrow, okay?
I'm planning on being there. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here today. We'll see you all again.